Hi everyone, this is Will from Left Man Prediction Squared, and we're here tonight to begin recording super early for our 14th developers vlog for Odyssian Void. And what we're going to be working on today is going to be kind of what we were working on a lot last developers vlog, coding mostly, but we're going to work on some coding for the game, and maybe also squeeze in some work on the tool as well, but our main goal is going to be the game work here. As before, we're going to use the 2013 version of the game here, or 2213 2213. Yes, we're now 200 years into the future. Visual Studio 2013 project, the new one. So I've done a little bit of work on this stuff today during my lunch breaks and sitting around waiting for stuff to happen at work, and I've begun kind of working on how certain things are going to work out. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about, because it's just I guess we have to build it with these in here to get the navigation bars. Fracking Microsoft. So we're gonna have to do this the old-fashioned way. Lasers. Fire my lasers. Let's see. That's not what we want. We don't want that. We don't want that. We don't want that either. What do we want? I don't know. Come on, damn you. Where are you, lasers? You gotta show up sooner or later. God, didn't have this much trouble finding it before. We were missing the integral lasers. That's what it was. Is that it? No, that's not it. Well, kind of. Yes, no, maybe. I think we're getting closer. There we go. Yeah, here we go. Here she are. That was totally not proper grammar. But well, I'm not going to go grammar Nazi on myself. That'd be a little too super redundant. So what I've done is, if you remember, let's see, I got the code down here for. I changed them all. Damn. If you're actually, you know what? We can just load this one up. I won't have any of the damn navigation issue because the bar. Well, damn, we did knock it off, didn't we? Well then, damn. I guess we're gonna have a navigation problem getting to where we need to go to. But no problem, because what the frick? No. Oh wow, it's showing up here. That's interesting. Is it disabled? It is. Wow. Now what the hell? So in 2012 this stuff shows it no matter what, but in 2013 it doesn't. What the frack? The frel? Another reason for me to, another notch for my I hate Microsoft's stupid ass policies. You know, at this point it's not like a wall or bedpost, it's like a freaking tree. Like a 200-year-old tree that I've been carving notches into. That I've almost filled up with reasons why I hate Microsoft. Or at least hate their freaking policies. Like the one where they're getting rid of clip art now, so you can't use that in like PowerPoints anymore. So, we are looking for, not that one. Oh, okay, we're already at the bottom. Well, duh. That's why I wouldn't scroll down. So, I need to find the proper thing, and it's supposed to be some crazy-ass name now. SMEMW lasers. So, let's see if I remember what this is. Station, market menu, equipment, or station market equipment menu, weapons, lasers. I get a gold star for remembering absolute crap. Okay. S-M-E-W, there we go, yeah. So if you remember, we had this like massive wall of code. And now what I've done is I've gone through and changed it with this. Now I still don't know how. Well, no, I guess I did figure that out. I'll have to figure out how to explain this as we're going along here, because I just did this for the hell of it. I'm not even sure that's going to work right or not. So what I've done is I've created a pair, and that is an actual type. In order to add it, you have to include some random thing. I don't know, where is it? I think it's over in the H file, header file. You have to include some stupid thing, utilities, I think. Yeah, utility, which is interesting. And then you have to do the std pair. Essentially what it is, though, it's like a vector almost, but it only has 2 elements to it. So it's not really like a vector. It's like an array, if you will, but it's a pair. I guess that's the best way I can explain it. But pair essentially is just a class that holds 2 data types, depending on whatever your data types are. In this case, 2 ints. And so what I'm doing is I'm using it to store the ranges from various vectors and ranges and vectors of vectors and whatnot. Probably actually only going to be using for vector of vectors, because this is essentially what a range is. Now you just pass the range, the global range variable, into whatever function I'm going to use it in. This is kind of a thing that's bridging the gap between the range variables and the vectors. Because I don't want to have to call, well, you'll see how it works here in a second. But it just makes things a little bit easier. So, well, that's interesting. It's in the header, but not in the CPP. Well, that is just interesting. It's interesting, even. And anybody from work that's watching, that's probably going to crack up with that. But, so I'm working for a place called Sintel, and they put sin in front of everything. Almost. That's kind of an inside joke, along with the 5 S's of Sintel. Soup, slaughter soup. Anyway, so, where the hell is that? Here it is. No, wait. Yes, maybe so. I don't know. No, it's this one. Well, it's both of them, but it's this one. Specifically. God damn you. Go to definition, declaration. Frickin' it's frickin' IntelliSense. Sintellisense. Being a pain in the ass. Of course, that's not out of the ordinary. So here's what happens. So we send through our vector of vectors, and in this case, I'm sending through WID range. I think in later versions, I may try and figure out how to make this maybe type in specific, so like make it a template or something, template function, so I can pass through any vector of vectors. Of course, I'll also have to overload it to take, a regular vector instead of a double vector. But what it does is it takes the WID range, because that's what I'm making it for at the moment, and it takes the type, which is the weapon type, and the ship class as ints. So the int representation for the weapon type and the int representation for ship class. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for, lasers, missiles, bombs, railguns, heavy weapons, and then, 1 through 8 for ships, frigates, destroyers, cruisers, battlecruisers, battleships, command ships, motherships, titans. I think so. Try saying all that 10 times fast. And then what we do is we return a make pair. So essentially what this does is it initializes, or I guess initializes is the right term, the pair variable by taking 2 values that you add in here and then stuffing them into the pair. So in this case we are returning WIDS type.atSclass.vrange.ilow, all that .vrange.ihigh. So essentially the type, weapon type, so if type is, let's say, 1, then we're going to get the second vector, second interior vector from WIDS, and we're going to look in there and find the specific class that we want here for because of S class, and say S class is 4, so battle cruiser, right, or battleship. Yeah, these won't be 1 or these will be 0 index type of thing. So it'll be 0 to 4 and 0 to 8, 7 when we pass them through. So, but yeah, so we would get the missile weapon ID ranges for battleships, or no, command battle 4 by battleships. And we get the I low value and then the I high value. That becomes a pair. And then coming back up here to wherever the hell it's at. Way up here somewhere. Lost in the avalanche of code. I can't even imagine how large this file is going to be once we get all the code in, because we have like about 70 to 90 menus in here now that have no code but have declarations. Or rather definitions, like these here, but they have no code yet, and they're eventually going to have either code like this, or they're going to be like our weapon ones up here, where we're actually looping through the values and printing out the data. So we ended up in SMEWM missiles. And the C code was C -1, so we're doing the 0 index there. And the C code was 5. So we're gonna pass through to get I pair GV WIDs WIDs. So it's the global variable namespace and then weapon ID ranges for all the weapons. Pass through 1 that indicates that we're looking in the weapon or weapon array, the missile array. So the second, I just said array, didn't I? The missile vector, second vector element of WIDS. Then we're passing through the C code -1. C code is 5, -1 is 4, which indicates battleship. And then we take that value that we get the pair and we send it to PI info, which was also down at the very bottom, so we have to go running back down. And here, we just essentially loop through, we set I1 to the value of V-range first, so the first value of the pair, which would be the I low. Then we loop through and increase I1 to by 1 every iteration until this conditional statement is no longer true, so until, actually it should be less than or equal to, because we want to get the last one as well, because this is the last item on the high side. And as long as this is true, we'll print out the weapon information. And so I've taken all that crazy code that you see over here, all this stuff, from all these, and really just compressed it down into like 2-line calls and then that block of code down there. We still have to have the if statements, so we can't just like compress it down to one thing, or, well, maybe we can, but, well, you know, that's a good question. Can we or can't we? Because really all this is doing is saying, you know, the go back up there again. Damn, I wish we, can we bookmark? Maybe we can do a bookmark. See, if not, we can do like a break or something, and that'll show up over here. But if we do a bookmark, that'd be just freaking awesome. Let's see, bookmark, there aren't any, so we'll do a breakpoint. So that'll show up over here and we'll see where it's at. So, yeah, you see, we don't even, wow, I didn't even think of that. We don't even need that crap. We don't even need this stuff. We can just go, we don't even need any of it. We just go one of these, can't we? Holy hell. I did not think of that. We could just do this. I mean, that's really all we have to do. Because the value of C code no longer, we no longer give a crap what the value of C code is, because it's being passed to this function, which is going to get the values associated with the C code and the weapon ID the weapon type ID, and then it's just going to use that range that we get to print out the information. We no longer have to give a crap about what that value is, so we don't have to check for it. That is really awesome. But should we do some error checking? I mean, just like thinking of things that can go wrong. You know, what if somehow some crazy ass number gets in here? You know, C code becomes like 20 or something. That's going to cause, you know, just mass destruction. So maybe we should do. Well, how would that even happen? Because how this is done is even going to change eventually. Because we'll need to, you know, deal with this stuff in some instances dynamically, because there may be different types of classes where other ones were, or what have you, know. So, even, you know, many generations are going to even have to change a bit, because we'll have to take into account any new types of weapons that get added, for modding, so. Anyway, I think this'll be fine. But let's check out the logic behind this. So, check M input. Of course, that's nowhere near. Yeah, definition goes to the declaration. Frickin' piece of crap. I believe that'll be at the end of all this stuff. That's where I put those kind of things at. So. Watch it be on the frickin' other. Watch it be up above instead of below. Oh, there we go. Check in. So. Another breakpoint. So we can see where the frickin' thing's at. Okay, so. Essentially what we're saying is now. Of course, this thing doesn't jump right to where you want it to anymore. So what we're saying is now is we're passing through. P choice, which is what the player chose off of the menu that was printed here. PV range first, PV range second, 0 and true. So P choice, low, high, default, and B is 0. So our bool is 0. So essentially, all we're doing is we're checking low against the high, making sure that's within this range, which is fine. There's nothing that we need to do specifically for that. And then I think what this is saying is that if the player chose 1, but 0 was not a valid input, then display the error message and then set the P choice to def, the default, and then return the P choice. So I think that will work just fine. So I've just taken by just kind of sheer awesome skill now, by just kind of, you know, examining and thinking, well, wait a second, what if we just did this? Taking all this now down to just this much, which is awesome. Granted, testing still needs to happen, but I think it'll be fine. Okay. So 0, true. So that's just, you know, interesting thing there. So the other thing I've been working on is trying to get some more of the data ready to be implemented into the global VARs class here. For the most part, I've been working on the asteroid data. So, you know what? Let's see. Get up in the new one here. So I'm going to go to Documents. Documents. Where the hell? Ah, okay. So I've gone through and started kind of consolidating information down here in the asteroid thing, but I've kind of reached an interesting kind of dilemma, and that is that at some point some of the stuff is going to have to be kind of split apart like this. Because, for example, putting all this data together into one line like this, there's 3 distinct issues. First is the data types are not all the same. So we got ints here and floats here. Now that might not be a problem for the floats, but this float has a second split here of the hyphen. This one doesn't. So we kind of got a you know, kind of a mishmash of issues there. First, you know, it would be possible to use these two in the same line of imports. However, this one has an extra split that this one doesn't have. And we could use these two in the same line because they have the same number of splits, but they're different data types. So we just have to kind of split everything down this way. But I did merge them, the high and lows, together like this. So this is kind of shrinking it a bit. Do the same thing with these ones up here. What I'll do is we're going to go ahead and just take these and replace them where they need to be. So I took them out of order when I was trying to put them together. Just for these ones though. So you can just kind of extrapolate what these are to these other ones here. But we do have to bring these apart though. So we want to keep that, but we want to do this, bring this down and say AOA should be AOA 1. Or actually there. AOA SR2 STR. So asteroid we don't even need the, that's for ore, that was from this, left over from that, so I don't even need that. Asteroid size range 1, or asteroid size range 2 STR string. And then the third one here, which is ASM 1 STR, so ASM 2. Asteroid size multiplier. Then do the same thing with these. Okay. So now we can go about trying to fix all my messed up crap over here. So I really screwed things up in there. Because on these computers at work, we don't have any kind of IDEs whatsoever, so I'm having to use WordPad. Notepad sucks because it doesn't do proper tabbing spacing. WordPad does, but it's still a pain in the ass because now you lose all the extra features an IDE gives you. It's too bad they removed the secret administrator account from Windows 7. Could have used that to hack around there. Well, then I probably would have gotten fired, so, well, I guess it's a good thing. But I will say this for one thing. If I will probably go insane using their freaking keyboards because they suck to hell and back. I just can't even describe the suckage and why they suck. They just are, they don't angle up very well. They're not made for programming, let's put it that way. They're made for frickin', secretaries typing away 50 words a minute or something. They're not made for programmers to have to do all kinds of weird, symbols and things that are not going to be used on by a secretary, hopefully, as a part of their job. I take this keyboard with me, but again, you can't bring any kind of USB devices for whatever reason. I never heard of anybody smuggling in a virus within a keyboard, but I don't know, maybe it happens in China or something. So the thing I screwed up was something in here, I don't know. So, okay, I created AS data, which is something else to hold data, for asteroid data. The stuff that we were going to be putting together. But no, that's yeah, we really don't need that anymore, do we? Because everything's going to be kind of split apart here, so we can't group everything together. So yeah, screw that. We don't need that anymore. Actually, we do, but we need to call it something else. So asteroid stage 1 data. See, we just add one character and it changes the meaning of the thing entirely. It's awesome. Oh, what the frick? Okay, there we go. So we'll just change the values here. So 2 and 3. And change these over here because comments should make sense. And then now, but see, this still doesn't really work because we need to import different types of data for these. So get rid of the data because we're no longer doing just base data. It's going to be kind of split apart into 3 groups. So I'm going to say OIDR, or OID range. So that'll be where these are. So OID range. These names are getting way too long for my liking, but whatever. Now we need to do another 2 groups of these here. So size range I think is next. Yeah, so AS range, or AS1 range, AS1 AS range, AS1 as range. And then the last one is the multiplier, so ASM. AS multi. Okay, so we got lots of this stuff here that we don't really need. Now, I added a new vector down here, or rather, is it a vector or vector? Oh, vector of A data, yeah. So, vector of A data. A data is a new global struct over here, which holds this data here. So, it holds the asteroid ID range, value range, the float value range for asteroid size range, and then also the float for the size multiplier. So, it's kind of like this, except we also have some other stuff in here like that. But I'm doing this on the same principle as I did the planet type stuff here with the ranges and the vectors, kind of putting all the data into one structure, one struct, so that we don't have to like do one of these for each individual things to kind of keep the data together for that particular stage. So like all the stage 1 data will be going here for one element. The next element will be all the stage 2 data, etc. So we kind of get the same grouping as we do once from, as I wanted to try and do from the get-go, but we get it the same kind of way from not having it together like I wanted to in the first place. So that works, I guess. Next is going to be figuring out how the hell to work with this. So really, all we have to do is a single split or just a convert. So yeah. Okay, so yeah, we don't have to worry about vectors for getting the data situated, but we will have to deal with converting it, casting it, whatever the hell you want to call it. I call it casting, but people say, "Oh, so you're not casting the data; you're just changing it. It's not a real cast." And then they start, quoting off lexical casts from Boost, and I just, say, "Frack my life," because lexical casts and Boost are 10 times more stupid than they need to be. So we have this data, what we need now is something that I don't have, probably should have, is something to cast or change data from one type, from a string to another, to a different type. So we'll probably just do some, we'll do overloading, because I don't want to do a whole bunch of different functions. Or not functions, but different if-then cases inside of a function to handle all the different types. So, we'll that's a good question. So, do we want to do void, or do we want to make let's make it a template. Is there a way to create I don't know, let's see. To Stack Overflow. So, template return type. C++. I spelled template wrong. So, interesting. Very interesting. So, template class T struct item return. Type def T type. So, does JS fiddle? No, IDE1. I think I tried to go to this a couple days ago and tried to compile some C++ code. Their stupid filters blocked it for whatever reason. Let's see. Okay, so how do we make this work though? Or does it do nothing? Interesting. So, type text. So the function name is foo. Return T. Because what I want to do is I want to use overloading, and I don't think you can overload. Maybe you can though, I don't know. It's an interesting thing. The signature has to be the same for the overload, but the parameters are different. But let's see, so let's do a float set range. So go over to here. I gotta fix that because I really screwed up that stuff. So set range. Interesting. So you can overload it with a different return type. That is interesting. From what I gathered from my recent refresher on this stuff, the signature, rather, which is the return type and the name of the function, has to be the same for an overload. But according to this, or at least the internal stuff, it's not bitching about it, so that tells me that it doesn't really matter. You can do different return types. The only thing that matters is the actual name of the function. Interesting. So, yeah, we could do that then. It's fine. So, let's return int. I can see one problem though, and that is that the rest of the function has to be somewhat different. The parameters you set, the compiler can differentiate between the two. So, like if you have a set range with the same parameters, but that returns an int, the compiler is not going to know what function to call from a call to set range because all the parameters will be exactly the same. So it'll say, well, do I call the void one or do I call the int one? And it will create an error. So that's not what I want. They want to use CI data. So convert imported data string iData. So now we got to figure out I wonder if we can just put T here. Would that work? Oh, hey, it would work. Wow. Would it compile, though? That's another question. Let's go and kill that off. Kill this off. Kill this off. Anywhere else it's complaining about anything? Well, I guess we'll find out. Did I undo? I did, so I need to knock these out. Otherwise I'll get really freaking tons of errors. Wait, does the header? Okay, so I didn't undo the CPP. That's why it doesn't have the navigation stuff. Don't know why I didn't think to check that. Okay, yes to disable it. And then we want to go ahead and build. And see what kind of problems we get here. So we got some syntax errors. That's going to give me hell. So let's just kill that stuff off. Let's see this. Yeah, it's all or stuff. Crap. This too. Okay. It's all asteroid stuff. Really? That doesn't make any sense. Range. Oh, because range isn't... No, range is here. No, that's right. Maybe it's because of some other issues. Let's go and do a rebuild. Oh, bullcrap. What the hell? Am I missing something somewhere? Oh, yes I am. Need to include... Probably need to do, using std vector. I need to include vector as well. Alright, unresolved externals. So, RB... Oh, so this is just saying that there's a variable I haven't declared or defined or something over in the other class, probably. So it's RBS range. RBS range. Frankly, I'm surprised this stuff is fine. Oh, really? It's a redefinition? So wait, already... What the hell? So... Oh, it's a string. Idiot. Alright. Okay, so it built. Sweet. So it's not gonna give me crap about that. That is actually pretty kick-ass, really. But this seems to have worked. So we just make this extern, template, rather. So template type name T, extern T. And we can just return any kind of data back. In theory, anyway. I don't know if it'll work the way it seems like it should. I guess we'll find out. One thing I will tell you is that this storm system can screw the hell off. Last couple days it's been muggy as all hell. And it's really just destroying the delicate balance of temperatures within my computer here, because my computer, as you probably know, is essentially a giant furnace. I will easily get this room to 90 degrees Fahrenheit if there's no airflow through this room. Easily. Now what I want to do is I'm going to go and actually do the thing for the, well, the funny thing is that some of these, like this one for example, we had to define it here. I couldn't define it over in the other file for some reason, but all this stuff doesn't give a crap about it. It's over here and not defined here. So it's just really strange. So, CI data. I'm going to put it at the top of all this stuff because it's the simplest thing to happen, you know, simplest execution or whatever, so just go ahead of everything else. I'm going to try and order these by their difficulty of execution. So, template, if I recall correctly. I have to redo the template. Yeah. Template. Type name T CI data. String I data. Now here's the annoying thing. We have to pass the type. I mean, we just have to pass a type identifier, what we want to change it into. So, string type. But we don't have to do one of these for every type that we want to return. We can just use T, hopefully. So, if type, we want to use a toy. So, return a toy, idata.c_str. Else if type equals float, return str to f. Do we have to do char str on these? I've forgotten already. Yeah, CSTR. So idata.cstr. Then we also have to pass null as well. Shouldn't that be purple? Oh, it should be caps null. That's why. Again, I don't know whenever I use doubles, but just in case. Return A2F. I think that's all we'll need to worry about. Ints, floats, and doubles. Now, because this isn't going to be used anymore because we're changing how it's going. So, this either. Alright, so really there's only one we want to do that with, and that's going to be the multiplier, which in this case is a float. So ASM1, ASM2, ASM3, STR. And we need to save that in a temporary variable until we can load it into cancel, into the destruct. So I'm going to make temp variables for these two. Damn. Extern float AS1 multi. Extern float AS2 multo. Yes. Okay. So we got those in. We're also going to need ranges for these. Out of curiosity, what the hell is the temperature in here? Oh, let's see. Toasty 80 degrees, but it feels like 97. Thanks to the damn humidity. Let's see. Maybe I can put my fan on low without causing too much noise here. That should do. Alright, so extern range AS1. I'm going to keep these really short and simple. No OID range, screw camel case specifications, if you will. No, I'm missing the R in these, aren't I? Gotta add the R for range. Range. No, you can't do that. You can't pirate range. It's just not possible. It's like you can't pirate the R and pirate. Well, pirate. No, yeah, same thing. Range. Let's see. AS1, ASR, ASR. Now we gotta add all these. Well, we have to add all this stuff anyway, because I don't think we have them over there yet. Let's see. What do we have? So, yeah, we don't have RP range, RB size, and RBA amount. RBA amount. RBA amount, RB size, yeah, so this is what we're talking about here. Because I just got rid of RBS range and R. We'll go ahead and add those in RP range and RBSR range. String, yeah. RP range. RBS range, RP range. I gotta take all the externs off of here. Just do it the easy way. Why? I actually haven't added, have I? Oh, what the hell? There's no way to move this around now? How cheap is that? So find... Oh, shut up. Extern space and replace with nothing in selection. Okay, now AS1 multi. AS1 multi equals CID, or CI data. Well, pass a iData, so AS1 AS multi and float. So there's no instance of the function that matches string and then a const char 6. The frick? std string type. Well, that's very interesting. I wonder if it has to do with the fact that we're doing the template thing. But it makes some sense anyway. String iData, string type, template type name T, T CI data. What about changes from T to float? Maybe stuck doing it the harder way. Float. Yeah, see, that's what it was, the type name thing. I don't know, it's still gonna complain, isn't it? Fulcrum. This is a string, not a const char. You're supposed to take it, damn it. That is very interesting. Template type is a string iData, string type. Well, I'm going to take a break and kind of think on this and see what the hell is the problem. Maybe do some searching, and then we'll get back to you later on. So let's go ahead and leave it there. Let's go ahead and load up the let's go and close this out. Open up the mod tool. So I did a little bit of work on this today as well, or rather it was yesterday I think, during lunch. Added in some new data types: empires, items, planet ID, and races, or planet data and races. But that's just what I've added. I've added some of the stuff in the code too, but I haven't actually added anything to, pull in these values and edit the data or anything. So I was planning on trying to figure out how to actually do this, because it's going to be slightly different. Like, for example, I think with some of these, like empires and races, we need to disable it when we do singular. Well, I don't know. I guess we could just print out text boxes with all the different races. And like say race 1, race 2, race 3, race 4, race... I'm what? Fuck. I'm hunting wascally weapons. Races. 1 through whatever. And then just have the name of the race in the text box. I think that's just what we'll do. Now, I just need to take a break from recording. This room is just kind of killing my brain. The heat is, even with this fan on. Well, it's not quite enough. So I'm going to take a break, then we'll come back for a while and I'll continue with this. So, I will be right back, at least from your perspective. It'll probably be maybe 45 minutes to an hour. So I want to do some other stuff while I'm waiting for this room to cool down.